Hello, everyone. John Doyle from Optics EQ around Ricciuti, and we're going to go out after the Tampa Bay Downs race, the Tampa Bay Derby. And it's a grade 2 and gets a lot of Kentucky Derby points, so this is a big one. And it's kind of a replay round of the Sam Davis. So we're going to talk about that race. The winner of that race was Classic Causeway. He's back. He looks like a legitimate favorite in here, but well, we'll discuss it anyway. So Ron, I'm looking at the plot here. It looks like a pretty good plot, well behaved. You just kind of see how things line up on the diagonal. So that's why it's kind of a decent fit. It's a yellow, but it's good. Contentions of flame and speed ratings low. So I think anything could happen in terms of the pace. Looking at the early, just looking at the plot visually, it looks like the 4 looks good on the plot. The 9, you can maybe make a case for the 5, 7. Those kind of look like the best of those. And then maybe the closers, the 11 and I guess the 6 there, or maybe the 11. So he's kind of a new shooter. But anyway, we thought we'd break this race up, look at it from Sam Davis, then talk about some of the other horses coming out of other races like the Holy Bull, and then just kind of talk about some new shooters that might improve and have a chance in here. So let's dig in. We're going to start off with the Sam Davis run. There's a lot of horses. There's 6 horses coming back. We handicapped this race with Emily. We thought Classic Causeway looked like a legitimate favorite then. I don't think much has changed. His race was pretty good. What do you think?
Yes, agreed. Classic Causeway, he looked great here the last time. Kind of had the race in control and was geared down there at the end. I really don't see, besides, he maybe, and some of the other ones as well, might not take to a wet track, which is what they're expecting tomorrow. But other than that, he put in a really good work last Saturday. So he could improve here off of that effort.
Yeah, and you got like 2 improves on 2 horses in this, from that race, the number 9 and the number 6. So, those horses potentially could run a better race. But I just thought, when I watched the race, he got kind of pressed by that rank horse going into the first turn, 22 and change and 46. And then he kind of still kind of kicked away at the end. It looked pretty strong. It looked like they really weren't getting to him at all. So, they would have to be kind of a reversal of form. Now, the other thing is, some of those horses, one of the things about that race is horses that we expected to be up close weren't. So maybe they'll be, maybe the 9 will be more forward, and some others would be more forward. I think the 2 is another one that got off bad too. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I forget now. I think it was somebody else who was intended to go early got off bad. So that maybe there's a little bit more contention. I don't know if that hurts or helps their chances, with Classic Causeway, but it may soften them up a little bit for somebody else.
Again, with the way the track is expected to be tomorrow, I just, I don't see that there's going to be some kind of a meltdown or anything like that in this race.
Yeah. So,
if he gets a good break and he can control things up front again, then he's going to be tough.
Okay, so that's kind of not exciting, but I mean that's that's the way it goes. The other race that we looked at, let me just pull up the numbers here. I think it was the Holy Bull, which was a good race, right? Probably a higher level race than it was on the Sam Davis. So let me just look for the Holy Bull here. Okay, Holy Bull. Okay, so we had 2 horses coming out of Holy Bull, the five Giant Game, who got a lot of action, or at least a lot of hype going into that race. It was 4-1 in that race, and he was up close to that pace. That pace was kind of not that quick. In fact, the horse that finished second won the race. I mean, the horse was second early, won the race, and he just didn't keep up. He kind of looks like a turf horse to me. Now they said something physical. I think it was like he displaced the palate, so that. Maybe he needs a tongue tie or an adjustment there. Maybe that'll help him. Maybe there's improvement because this horse coming into that race obviously was well regarded and was 4-1. And the comment I made when we were doing the race the last time was that Talamo wasn't there to ride the horse. It seems like he's in. I think he's here to ride it today.
He is.
So that one, maybe you can see some improvement in that one. it's all going to depend on what price you're willing to take to forgive that. But I would have liked to seen something more in that race. But like I said, I don't know enough about the soft palate, and I know it affects breathing. So maybe that was the excuse there.
It could be, and then the class is there from the, from his Breeders' Cup juvenile effort. So if you're willing to put a line through it, yeah, I mean, he does have an outside chance.
And then Spin Wheel was another one coming out of that same race. Didn't do much running. Kind of looks more like a turf horse to us. No real excuse in saying, hey, other than maybe this is that was a tougher race, and maybe that's the only thing. It's almost like a little bit of a class drop, but I can't back this horse off of that effort. So for me,
No, and his maiden dirt win at Churchill, even though it came back with a decent enough figure, was kind of weak, right?
yeah, I mean, he got the setup, and then the two numbers before that were kind of low. Even though those was a 2-year-old season, even if you project improvement, he's below what you need to do here, right? He's going to need to run mid to high 90s, and he's kind of been nowhere near that.
Yes.
So, from the Holy Bull standpoint, you might want to give 5 another chance if you're high on that horse. I'm just kind of iffy on him. Ron, we're going to get into the line, so we'll see where it's not who do you like, it's like what price you're going to take. So I think that'll help people understand where we kind of see that horse, or where you see that horse in terms of price. The last thing we want to look at was kind of from the field is kind of like what we call the new shooters. Let me clear this out. So some of our new shooters were the one. Ron, I didn't like this horse. I didn't like the Withers much as a race, even though that horse came back and won, I guess, what was it, the Risen Star at a big price. I just, this horse going into that race, I was like a little iffy. This horse doesn't do it for me. Got to really improve off of that weak effort in the Withers. And it was over the mud. So I don't know. You had any opinion on the one? I don't think you liked the one.
I don't like the one. He looked okay, in his win at Turfway, and and I have that as a strong key race, and that was, again, based on how far outside the range he ran. And
oh, by the way, I just want to interject there. It didn't come back key though. I mean, I know you projected.
No, that's yeah. I'm saying now. I'm saying now it was not that strong.
Okay.
That that I've looked at it. And I'll take that out as well. But again, it was just a comparison of what had been running there earlier in that meet, about a month after it had started. So yeah, I don't know that he's ready for this group.
Yeah. And then the other one that I didn't like, I think you like more. Maybe this horse takes some money because it's it's a maiden win, but that race came back soft. And if you look at the optics fig range of that race in his first 2 starts, they've been soft. I don't like this horse. I know he ran a 91, but I think he's going to regress off that number.
And you're not going to get a price on this guy that a fair price, because it already seems like he's kind of like a wise guy entry here.
I mean, I think you have him much lower than I would have had him in this race, but I don't like that. The other 2 that I thought looked a little bit better from new shooters was the number 10 Belgrade. This horse looks like a nice horse. I don't know if he's ready for this level of competition, but you watch his last race at Tampa. He got in all kinds of trouble there, traffic. He overcame a lot. He showed some class.
He did, and if he can move forward again and handle the 2 turns, I would put him in there.
Yeah, he looks like one that could handle it. I just thought, out of all these kind of new shooters, the 11 Money Supply, even though he just broke his maiden. I hate betting these maiden breakers, when they run a big number like this right back. But this horse did it the right way. He had trouble. And I like your comment about 2 moves, because he kind of had to get into position, then he had to close. Yep. And that was a really strong race. In fact, that race, when you compare it to some non-graded stakes races run that same day, again, older horses, he beat the Filly and Mare race by like a full second, and then was right there. I think it was close, like maybe a 1/5 of a second off of the male race. So when you compare that, I mean, 3-year-old versus 4-year-old stakes race, I think this horse is capable of making them move up in class. Some people may downgrade it because he had to run down like a 40-1 shot, but that horse was ultra game in the race. So this is a horse I think I'm going to have him probably lower than Ron. My fair odds on this horse would probably be 6-1. If you get that, I'd be betting him. to win because I think he's one of those horses that I think the only, especially with that number, kind of maybe has the quality to kind of compete against the favorite.
Yeah, he could offer the best value here. Again, if the favorite doesn't bring the A game. There was something else I wanted to say about. Oh, he looked really professional on the inside, right? Coming away.
That's hard, like I don't see
move. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, you watch more Tampa than I do. I rarely see a move like that. They left the rail open. You say, "Oh, it was a dream." But the thing is about Tampa, it's like hard to close inside horses. I don't rarely see it.
It's really something you don't see a lot. So he's definitely has some talent there, and again, Chad Brown. So
I don't think the distance is going to be an issue with that horse. He looks like he's going to be able to handle more distance. Now, the only thing when you look at his plot, he looks like he's way back. Nice square. Obviously he always has a standard plot, but I don't think he's going to be that far back. You're going to have a lot of pressers that are going to be probably compromised chasing the 4. He may set the good mid-pack trip and make one run and get into contention maybe on the turn, and then maybe could run down the favorite in the lane. That's kind of, if I'm playing a contest or something, I'm probably going to go with this horse if he's anywhere near like 6 to 1 or something like that.
Makes sense.
The one horse I thought plotted well, and I thought it's worth talking about, Ron, and he comes out of the Sam Davis is the 7 Strike Hard. I don't like this horse. And the reason why I don't like him, it's just like, it looks like every one of his 2-turn races, well, every one, there's only 2 of them, but they look subpar. I mean, compared to one, he may be just a 1-turn horse. And even in the race, he ran good, don't get me wrong, but he kind of flattened out late. I'm just wondering if distance is an issue with this guy. I think he's more 1-turn, and he'll take money too. And he plots pretty well, but for me, I prefer the 11 over the 7.
Yeah, I mean, he might, be there a little earlier because that was a pretty bad start last time. But yeah, he has to prove himself at 2 turns, and he hasn't done that yet. Those 2 efforts are not comparable to the others.
Yeah. So and just so everyone knows, if you want to, Ron's done the focus for this, and what the focus report does, it kind of gives what he assessed the kind of the race to be in terms of a wagering opportunity or not, and then he kind of gives you the fair odds value that he's come up with for each of the horses. And it's a great piece of information. If you go just to race of the day, it'll be underneath the Tampa Bay Derby. So Ron's kind of labeled this race as a single. He's thinking that the 4 looks like the horse to beat. Might as well just go through this a little bit, Ron. So you got the 1 as a toss, the 2.
Yeah, I wanted to mention about the 2.
Yeah, anything in general you want to talk about this?
Yeah, the 2. I'm not recommending the horse, but he looked horrible last out. He just looked like he was washed out. Didn't really look like he was ready to race. So, let's see. Maybe he shows up better today. I don't, I think he has some ability there. I just don't know that he's ready. That again, that he can compete with these. But there was something physically just seeming off with him last time.
So this is, so just so you know, like why we downgrade the horse and why Ron did, and why he tossed the horse. He's got some good information in here. And what we do when we handicap the races, we use all of optics information to assess the horse's, viability. And so the red flags are negative. The red stars are even worse, negative. And then anything that's green is positive. Anything that's black, you get our mojo here, right? Anything black is kind of neutral. So when you're looking at some of these bullets, it's really helpful to try to understand why we assess the horse the way we did, right? So let us know if you have any comments. Let us know, and feedback. But the blue is, the black morning line is there, and then the odds in the blue is kind of what Ron assessed, like a fair value. It's like, in essence, if the horse was this, I could see betting them. But again, it all depends on who else is in the race. And in this case, Ron thinks that the 4 looks like a prime favorite, a legitimate favorite, right? So the other thing I think we talked about, I think with the difference between my assessment and Ron's is that I would probably make Golden Glider 8, the Strike Hard 12, and I probably make the 11 Money Supply 6. He beat my, value horse. If he's a 6-1, I could see maybe. So I may make him a value play here. But I agree with Ron's assessment. That the 4 looks good. Anything else in this report we want to kind of point out, Ron?
The Pletcher horse.
Oh, okay. Which number is it?
Because you have to mention it, right? So he's won both races. He won the Iroquois. I mean, it didn't look particularly impressive. I watched the replay again last night. He seemed to be struggling a little at the end in the stretch. He's coming back off a layoff here. It's going to be Pletcher magic if he wins here. But again, I just wanted to point that out because he's hard to ignore in a spot like this, no matter what he puts in.
Yeah, I mean, I think your assessment about like the plot. I mean, again, you're looking at optics things here. So you have the plot below average, right? So right here, so that kind of points that some of the reasons you're negative. So obviously starting a new form cycle here. So it's the first race. He's got to deal with horses that are have run and are in form and pointing toward this race. So
he's just another. I wouldn't take anything less than the 6-1 on, and I don't know that you're going to get that here.
Yeah, I'd be probably longer on it, but yeah. So I mean, great information. Check it out. It's on the website again. Let me just show you where it's at. If you go to opticseq.com and race of the day, and then you go to focus, you'll see it right there. See, Tampa Bay Derby. So good information if you're betting this race. Good information if you're just following the Triple Crown. So, it's good to have this information. So I think. Anything else, Ron?
No.
I think that's good. I think we've covered it.
I mean, I wish I had some
some pearls of
good
wisdom.
angle, but
But sometimes it is what it is. And you have to assess each race as it comes. So you can't make wine out of water. So that's it for us, John Doyle and Ron Ricciuti. Check us out. Check out our website, opticseq.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening, folks. Appreciate it.